Hello, I'm Rex, and welcome to Babel Planet. Why do we swear? I'm pretty sure many of you are thinking, because it's fucking awesome? But why do we think this way? What makes a few words more special than others, so much that we ban them from polite speech? Well, stick around to find out. The most popular theory on how swear words came to be is that they used to belong to word magic. The belief that words have power, like how saying Wingardium Leviosa will make stuff levitate. Many years ago, people believed that using the name of a dead person or a string of random words could bring them powers of the occult. Over time, this became related to certain words, which are surprisingly similar in most languages, all things considered. The most common swear words nowadays involve the dead, bodily fluids, sexual activity, and one's mother, just to name a few. Some languages deviate from that norm, though. Japanese, for example, is particularly interesting in that it has swearing pronouns. Just like in French you use tu versus vous to show respect towards the person you're speaking to, in Japanese there is a whole scale of second person pronouns. Most of them are meant to show respect, but a few of them exist with the sole function of pinpointing exactly how disgusted you are about having to talk to them. Of course, given Japan's overall culture regarding politeness, it is rare that you encounter these words outside of media, like anime, but I just have to say it's quite clever. Another thing that might surprise you is that there are certain medical conditions that can trigger swearing. This is because we don't process these words with the same region of the brain that we use for language. While speaking and writing happen in the cortex, the most advanced part of the brain, swearing skills are located in the limbic system, which controls basic behavior like emotions or the sense of smell. And this means that, unlike what many people think, swearing doesn't mean that someone's uneducated. It's as much of an instinct as crying when you hurt your toe. So, for example, deaf people with Tourette syndrome find themselves swearing in sign language through no fault of their own. It's just something that comes with their condition. And by the way, if you think I'm joking about this scenario, check the link in the description, there is an actual study about it. But hold on, let's backtrack a little bit. Why do people think swearing means you're stupid or illiterate? To understand this, we need to know what being uneducated really means on a cultural level. Up until very recently, most people only got basic education, and something like university was reserved for rich people. Rich English people in many cases. Why does it matter that they're English, you might ask? Well, that's because of two reasons. The first one is that a staple of English culture is being reserved about their emotions. It's simply seen as inappropriate to show how you feel in most formal situations. The second one is that the English conquered a good part of the world, bringing their values along with the right. Some of these values stuck to American culture, and Hollywood did the rest. Since our global culture generally frowns upon adults crying or screaming, the most common way to display negative emotion is through swearing, and since displaying too many emotions is seen as something only uncivilized people do, not to mention swearing usually requires words that aren't acceptable in polite conversation, people came to believe that swearing too much equals being immature or stupid. By now you probably noticed the flaw on this logic. Most people, if not all people, swear. Some more, some less, but pretty much everyone has done it at least once. Then why is it wrong? Why do we substitute words like motherfucker with mother father, for example? And why do movies get an R rating if they say fuck more than once, but they can use made up words like mudblood or Belgium? Well, obviously we don't want children exposed to these horrible words, do we? Then again, aren't substitute swear words their own swear words? They certainly have the same meaning. We use them in the same way, and some of them even sound similar to the word they're substituting. What makes swear words really special is nothing, really. They're bad because we think they're bad, and we think they're bad because we've been told they're bad, not because there's actually an importance to them. Lots of bilingual speakers get away with swearing in a different language just because no one can understand what they mean. Others make up their own. And there are also cases where they insult people with normal everyday words, kind of how the word monkey is perfectly innocent until you throw it towards a black person. Yeah, here's where it gets controversial. Unlike swear words, slurs are specifically meant to offend someone based on their personal traits. Words like ape, queer, or retard aren't bad because the word is bad. No word is bad by itself. They are considered bad words because they're used with the sole purpose of hurting other people by reminding them that they are not the same as the speaker. Why anyone would want to be so is out of the scope of the show, but this is when things get complicated. As we saw before, different words can mean the same thing in different times, but the opposite happens as well. People take completely harmless words and use them as a means to spread bigotry. A rather common and unfortunate case is the terminology for the mentally disabled, which has gone through something that we call the Euphemism Treadmill. Basically, that's what happens when a word that used to be positive or neutral becomes an insult through no fault of its own. For example, one of the earliest words for the mentally disabled in English was cretin, which came from a French dialect and meant Christian, as in, they are all the children of God, so we must respect them. Over time though, people started to use this word to accuse others of not being smart, so after a while it became a bad word. To substitute it, someone thought, hey, a Latin word might arise some respect, so they got the word imbecilus, which turned into imbecile. As you might imagine, the same happened. Someone then said screw it and made up a new one with no etymology, the word moron. If you live in the UK, you probably can see where this is going. Same thing happened with the words idiot, stupid, retarded, mentally ill, and now, if you spend any time on the internet, you know that the go-to insult is autistic. All these words came to be with the best intentions, and now they are ruined because people are horrible. Well, that's a depressing conclusion. But on the other side, we learned a good lesson today, and it's that no word is inherently good or bad, it is the way we use them what counts. And in a way, we can say that words do have power, but only as much as we give it to them. And who knows, maybe if we work hard enough, we can stop using language to spread hate and turn it into what's meant to be, a tool for love and connection among the people of the world. And that, my friends, would be the dog's bollocks. Subscribe if you enjoyed this vid and follow me on the net. I sometimes reblog or retweet great links, it's quite a bit. Before you ask why you all arranged that topic for next week, so come back and share with your friends, especially art geeks. If you subtitled, leave your name or work deserves its call. Thank you for watching, see you soon, goodbye and cheers to you all.